Hi everyone, welcome to the 13th video in my series on the Te Araroa trail. So I'm just leaving the Pelorus Bridge campground now, heading into the Richmond Ranges. So this is the longest section on the trail without seeing a road or being near any kind of civilization, so it's about 9 or 10 days in the bush. Got a pretty heavy pack. I think it's just under 25 kilos with 10 days of food. So yeah, it's not going to be an easy section. Had an awesome rest day here at Pelorus yesterday. It was about 27 degrees, so went for a few swims in the river, which was really nice. Yeah, now I'm heading off. So I'm planning on getting to Middy Creek Hut today, which is about a 14-kilometre road walk, and then about 6 hours on track into the Mt Richmond Forest Park. It's 10 to 10. I've just arrived at the start of the Pelorus River Track. So I've done just over 14 kilometres from the Pelorus Bridge campsite this morning. Climbed about 330 metres, and it's taken just under 2.5 hours. So yeah, it's been a pretty easy road walk the whole way. Now I'm about to head into Mt Richmond Forest Park. So from here I've got about an hour to the Emerald Pools, and then it's about another 3 hours to Captain Creek Hut, and then about another 2 hours from there to Middy Hut. I've just made it to the Emerald Pool on the Pelorus River. So this looks like an awesome swimming spot. Looks like it's probably a couple of meters deep and some rocks to jump off, so yeah, it looks pretty cool. So I've been walking just over 40 minutes I think from the car park at the end of the road, and I've got about another 3 hours from here to Captain's Creek Hut apparently. I'm going to stop and have a bit of a break here, and then I'll keep heading on up the river. Hope there's a swimming spot as good as this a bit further up. So this is Captain's Creek Hut, just under 3 hours from the car park. So that's a little 6-bed hut, no one here now. So yeah, looks like a good spot. There's an awesome swimming hole just out the front there on the Pelorus River. So we'll go down there and have a look, and I'll keep heading on towards Middy Hut. So that's supposed to be about another 5 kilometres, 2 hours from here. So shouldn't be too far to go. I've just arrived at Middy Hut, so this is where I'm going to be staying for my first night in the Richmond Ranges. So I've done 28.3 kilometres and it's 2:30 now, so yeah, about 7 hours walking, and I've climbed 900 metres. So it's been a pretty nice walk up the Pelorus River Valley, mainly just sidling around the river on the edge of the ridge and yeah, dropping in and out of the valley, so it's been pretty nice. Gonna have a look around here. The river's just back there, so I haven't had a look down there yet, but hopefully there's a good spot for a swim because it's still pretty warm. It's just before 8 o'clock in the morning. ready to start my second day through the Richmond Ranges. So I had a pretty good night at the Middy Creek Hut last night. It rained quite a bit in the night, but seems to have stopped now, so it should be a good day. It's not too hot. It was very hot yesterday, so I had a swim in the river, which was really nice. But yeah, it's a little bit cooler today. So I'm planning on heading up to Pelorus Hut first, which is supposed to be about 3 hours away. It's only 5 kilometres, but it's got a 600 metre climb, so yeah, quite a bit of uphill. And then I'll probably drop down to Mt Rintoul and down to Mt Hut, and then I'll either stay there or continue on to Hacket Hut and see what happens later on. I've just made it up to Pelorus Hut on top of the ridge. So it's taken me just under 2 hours from Middy Hut. It's been quite a climb, it's just been uphill the whole way. I didn't have any brakes, so I basically just powered it up here. So yeah, this is a really nice spot. It's a 16-bed hut, awesome views out over to Mt Richmond, and heaps of good camping space around here. So I'm going to be continuing on towards Mt Hut soon. I have a bit of a break here, and then yeah, it's meant to be about another 4 hours to Browning. I've just stopped for lunch at this little point on the track. So I've been walking about an hour 40 from Pelorus Hut heading towards Browning. It's been a pretty good track, a little bit muddy but not too bad, just along basically the top of the ridge, so been going up and down a little bit. Climbed a total of 966 metres today so far, but I think most of that was going from Middy to Rocks. So it should be another couple of hours to Browning, and then I'll make the decision whether I'm going to stay there or continue on to Hacket. I've just arrived at Mt Hut in Mt Richmond Forest Park. So this is my decision making point, whether I stay here or continue on to Hacket Hut. So I've walked just under 7 hours so far. It's about 2:30, and it's only another hour and a quarter to Hacket Hut, so I think I'm going to continue down there, which is basically a little bit further down the stream. So yeah, this is a little 8-bed hut, little clearing in the forest. Looks quite nice, there's no one here. So yeah, I'll have a bit of a break and then get moving towards Hacket. I've just arrived at the Hacket Junction, just under an hour's walk from Mt Hut. So this point's a potential exit point out to the Hacket Road end, which is just out from Hope near Nelson. So yeah, that can be used to get out of the Richmonds if needed, but I'm going to keep heading through. So apparently I'm about 15 minutes walk from Hacket Hut from here, and that'll be starting the Richmond Alpine Route tomorrow. So this point is actually the end of the Marlborough region as well. So I'm now in the Tasman region, which is pretty cool. So Marlborough's actually been my shortest region at 6 walking days from Ship Cove to here. So yeah, Tasman should be a little bit longer over the Alpine route. So I've just arrived to Hacket Hut. It's about 3:45 now, so yeah, it took me probably just under an hour from Mt Hut to get here. So I think I made the right decision continuing on. So I've walked just over 20 kilometres today, climbed 1250 metres, and yeah, it's taken me just under 8 hours I think. So there's 4 other people in the hut now, and it's a little 6-bed hut, so that's good. I've got a bed. It's just starting to spit, so hopefully it doesn't rain too much, but if it has to, I can do it in the night. So yeah, should be a few more people coming here, so a few might have to camp. It's been a pretty good day. I'm at about 270 metres above sea level here, so I'm quite low for how much I climbed, but it's just been a lot of ups and downs. And tomorrow I'll be starting the Richmond Alpine Route, hopefully heading to Slaty Hut. It's 7:20 on Friday morning now. I'm just leaving Hacket Hut, heading towards Slaty Hut today. So this is the start of the Richmond Alpine Route. So I've got about 4 hours to Starveall Hut, which should be a little bit up the stream, and then basically a 1,300 metre climb I think. So yeah, it's going to be a big hill. And then from there I drop down and back up onto another ridge where Slaty Hut is. So Slaty's at about 1,500 metres, so yeah, it's going to be a big climb today. And the track standard from here changes from advanced tramping track to expert route, so it's probably going to be a little bit rougher as well, with more unbridged stream crossings and yeah, a bit steeper. It's 10:15, just stopped for a morning tea break on the way up to Starveall Hut. So this is a pretty big hill. Started off with about a kilometre of river walking, which I did in my jandals just up from Hacket Hut. Keep the shoes dry, and then I switched back to shoes for the climb. So I've climbed about 700 metres so far. I'm at 908 metres above sea level here, and Starveall Hut's at about 1185 I think. So I've got just under 300 metres climbing to go to the hut. I've just stopped for lunch at this little point between Starveall and Slaty Huts. So it's just after 12. I'm at just over 1,300 metres above sea level. So it's been a pretty good climb up to Starveall Hut and then over Mt Starveall, which was another 300 metres up from the hut. So that was at just over 1,500 metres I think. It was very windy up there, so yeah, glad I'm got down. So I'm in the saddle between Starveall and Slaty Peaks now, and there's probably only about another 100 metres climbing to get to Slaty Hut, so it's not too far away. So this peak is Slaty Peak. The hut's just over there somewhere on the left, and over this way is the 2 Rintoul peaks. So this one's Little Rintoul and this is Mt Rintoul. So hopefully if the weather's good tomorrow, I'll be heading over both of those peaks. So I've made it up to Slaty Hut. I got here just after 1 o'clock, It's just after 3 now, so I've just been getting myself set up, and yeah, so I'm the only one here now. Little 6-bed hut, pretty much the same as the ones I've passed so far in the Richmonds. So today's was about 13 kilometres in total and about 5.5 hours, and I climbed just under 1500 metres. So there was quite a bit of climbing. I'm at 1400 metres above sea level here, so I'm kind of just on the bush line. The tops are just up there. Yeah, so got some pretty awesome views today over the Rintouls and towards the valleys and Mt Richmond. So yeah, I'll start collecting some firewood soon and hopefully get the fire going tonight. It's not very warm, so it'd be quite cool. It's 7 o'clock on Saturday morning now. I'm just leaving Slaty Hut, heading up towards Slaty Peak. So it was a pretty cold night. It was about -2 in the night. So yeah, we got the fire going, which was really nice. And now I'm just heading up the hill. So I'm planning on getting to Mt Rintoul Hut today, which is supposed to be about 10 hours away. A lot of climbing, and it's the highest point on the Richmond Alpine Track. So yeah, we'll see how we go. Just made it to the second junction to Old Man Hut, so it's taken me just under 3 hours to get here. I've climbed just over 600 metres and done about 9.5 kilometres. So yeah, it's been some pretty awesome views along the ridge, but it's very cold and windy. Yeah. So Old Man Hut's about 10-15 minutes down there, but it's about a 200 metre drop, so I'm not going to be going down there because that'll involve coming back up. So I'm going to continue on towards the Rintoul Hills. Little Rintoul is about a 350 metre climb from here, and then I drop down and climb Mt Rintoul, which is the highest point on the Alpine Route, and then drop down from there, and there's Mt Rintoul Hut, which is where I'm planning on staying tonight. Just stopped for lunch between Little Rintoul and Mt Rintoul, so it's still pretty windy, and that was a pretty dodgy descent coming down from Little Rintoul. It wasn't too bad going up, but just coming down was really steep, heaps of scree and loose boulders and things. So yeah, that was interesting. And now I'm just probably about 2/3 of the way up Mt Rintoul, but I thought I'd stop here in a little bit of a sheltered spot from the wind, not really. So I've probably got another just over 100 metres climbing to the top, and then it's all downhill to Mt Rintoul Hut. So this peak is Little Rintoul, so the summit's just over there, and where I came down was somewhere down there and up to here. So yeah, it was pretty steep. Got awesome view over to Wairoa Valley that way. Now I'm looking at summiting Mt Rintoul there. So I've made it to the summit of Mt Rintoul. Over that way you can kind of see Golden Bay or Tasman Bay towards Nelson. And then round this way, Little Rintoul over that way, towards the Wairoa Valley down that way, and towards Mt Rintoul Hut that way. So I'm going to start heading down there. I've just arrived at Mt Rintoul Hut and got my stuff set up. So I got here about 1:15, so about 6 hours 15 minutes walking today. It was meant to be 10, so I did that pretty quickly. Just over 13 kilometres and I climbed 1400 metres. So it has been quite a big day of climbing. Yeah, it's still pretty cold. I'm at 1250 metres above sea level here. When I got here the fire's going, some people are already here, so yeah, it's really nice. And we've already got a full hut, but I've got a bed, so that's cool. And there's a few people tenting outside. It's 7:30 on Sunday morning now. Just leaving Mt Rintoul Hut, heading towards Tarn Hut. So I've got a bit of a climb up to Purple Top. I think it's about a 300 metre climb. And then from there I'm basically dropping down the whole rest of the day. So Tarn Hut's about 5 hours away. And then I'm going to continue on to Wairoa Hut, which is another 4 hours from there. Going to see how I'm feeling and possibly get up to top Wairoa. It's 10:15. I've just arrived at Tarn Hut. So there's a little tarn just through the trees there. Little alpine lake. It's pretty brown, doesn't look very appealing. But this is a nice little hut. Got plenty of camping space around, little 5-bed one. So it's taken me 2.5 hours to get here from Mt Rintoul Hut. It was meant to be 5 hours, so going pretty fast. Done exactly 9 kilometres and climbed 500 metres. So it's basically just been over the ridge, a few ups and downs, over Purple Top and sidled below Bishop's Cap and down to here. So I'm going to have a bit of a break and then continue on towards Wairoa. So I made it up to top Wairoa Hut. It's about 7:30 now. I got here about 5:15, so it's been a pretty long day. About just under 10 hours. Did about 25 kilometres and climbed about 1,300 metres. So yeah, it's been pretty hard. A few challenges today. This end section along the river was quite interesting. It's kind of sidled above the river, but it was a very rough track in the 8 crossings of the Wairoa River, just between mid Wairoa and here. So yeah, that bit was quite hard. Fell over a couple of times, lost my jandal, got woken up to a mouse eating my rubbish. So yeah, it hasn't been the best day overall. But anyway, made it right up to top Wairoa, so it's a little bit further than I was expecting. So I should have another 2 days before I'm out into St Arnaud. So thanks for watching this 13th video in my series on the Te Araroa Trail. If you'd like to support me, there's a link to buy me a coffee in the description below. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss the next part. See you next time.